Cassie, this would be a great time for you to go ahead and introduce yourself.
So hello. So if you haven't met me yet, my name is Cassie Haresh, and on your screen you'll see me there in a toque in the not snow yet, and now I'm looking out our window and it's snowing again. So here we are. So yes, I'm the marketing manager here at Carmella, one of our crew of 7, and I'm also the president of my own company called Cass Effect, which was born out of the fact that I was a member of Team Canada Women's Skeleton for the better part of 10 years. And I have a journalism background. And through all of that, the biggest piece that I was missing was that I needed to find money. Just like many of you here in your businesses, as an athlete, I needed to brand myself and figure out how to self-support without being able to work full-time. So thankfully, my journalism and my personality came together, and I was able to create and learn and essentially become a better part of a marketing team rather than just the journalism piece. So that's how I fit in, and happy to be here today, and I'll be co-presenting with staff.
Thanks, Cass. And I'm Stephanie O'Brien. I've met most of you before. I'm the president of Carmella. And I think the most important thing for you to know is the reason why I love what I do. And that is, I love talking to business owners and finding out more about what your business problems might be, and then coming up with really creative digital solutions in order to solve those problems. We always want what we're doing in our marketing space to ladder up to our business objectives. So I'm the president of Carmella, the CEO of Making Tonight, and very recently, I've become an executive coach with Action Coach. Carmella, for the most part, with a strong team of people just like Cassie, runs itself, and it allows me to do other things, which is really, really fun. So without kind of further ado, we're going to jump right into today's presentation. Carmella is, as Cassie mentioned, a team of 7. It comes from my youngest daughter's, her name is Bella, and my oldest daughter's name is Carmen. I'm all over that. I obviously need more coffee this morning. Oldest daughter's Carmen, youngest daughter's Bella. That's where that name comes from. So there's some good significance there. And we went narrow and deep in the social media space for a long time, but we have grown into a full service agency. Launched a massive e-commerce website on Tuesday, and had global TV there. Yeah, whoop, whoop. I had global there, with the business owner, with that particular launch, and it was pretty spectacular. So I want to ask all of you, may I be your coach today? I need to get your permission before I start putting you a little bit on the spot and making you do some of the work. So I just want to get a show of hands or a nod. I can't see all of your screens at this time, but I'll trust that Cassie can
but
see
I
you
can.
guys. And
So far,
exactly.
I haven't got any thumbs down. So
okay. They probably wouldn't be here if they felt that way, I'm sure. That's right. So that's great. All right. Okay. So if we were sitting in person, we would be. You would have a worksheet in front of you. But I want you to go ahead and write down, actually put it in the chat. We're going to use the chat right now. Why don't you go ahead and type in the chat, what do you think is the secret to social media? Go ahead, type it right in the chat.
For those of you that are on mobile, if there's any issue with finding the chat, no problems. If you can unmute and share it when we're sharing, that would be helpful, just in case, because some people have a hard time swiping through, but let me know.
Rosina says engagement. That's great. What else do we got? Opportunities to connect, regular, so consistency. Anything else there, Cass?
Yep, so definitely consistency, relevance, engagement, participation, opportunities for direct engagement, regular posting, fun, energetic, and engagement. So engagement's definitely our largest word in this word bubble.
Awesome.
Advertisement.
Ads, yep, absolutely. So you can't have engagement without having content, and without having great content, and without having relevant, timely, memorable, valuable content, right? So I like to always put my storytelling hat on. And I really believe strongly that if you can figure out how to use storytelling in your business, which I'm going to teach you this morning, it's going to help you drive a stronger ROI. We work with a number of hotels, and we use a storytelling approach with our organic social media for those hotels. And we do drive organic sales using this method. So every single month we can look and we can see, okay, they spent X on their social media and they got an 8-to-1 return. They got a 10-to-1 return. They got those, those kind of numbers are great for organic. If you're running an ad campaign, the very minimum you'd like to see is a 10-to-1. And that means you spend 1,000, you make 10,000. Or in the best case scenario, the last campaign we ran, we spent 1,700 and made 160,000 for a company. So that was, again, a really good 76-to-1 ROI. So let's talk about storytelling for just a few seconds, okay? So the human brain is wired to receive stories. They're universal, we know that. We've all been taught that when we are trying to, for example, sell something, or we want to get somebody's attention, we go, hold on, I got to tell you a story. And then suddenly what happens is your body kind of relaxes, right? And you engage. And the reason for that, well, I'm going to tell you the reason for that, okay? But basically, a story is its purest form. It has a cause and effect. It's how we think. We're story listeners, and we think in narratives, whether it's about running errands, what's happening at work, or thinking about our friends. We make up stories in our heads for every action and conversation in our daily lives. And the truth about that is that our brains receive information very differently when told through a story than by merely capturing information. So I could say, I could stand here and talk about dopamine and read the text right that's there, and you're going to remember it for maybe a second or two, and then it's going to be gone, right? But when we hear inspirational stories, more blood flows into your brainstem. That's the same part of your brain that makes your heart beat, regulates your breathing, and keeps us alive. And we feel inspiration at the very core of our survival, right? So again, there's a physiological effect that takes place when I say, hold on, I'm going to tell you a story. So how do we recreate that in the social media space, where we have only 7 seconds to grab somebody's attention, right? So I'm going to ask you guys, why does this matter? So if somebody wants to jump in and tell me, why do you think this is important? I see some blank stares, and I see some people struggling with getting their audio on. So you have your primal brain, which essentially, as soon as we start to feel sold to, or we don't understand the relevance behind the message, we say no, and we basically stop that message from coming. So it's really important. What we need to do is we need to tell that part of the brain that it's okay, that this message is something that we want to listen to. And we want to get past, as I said, past that primal brain. We want to get into the part of our brain that is responsible for decision making, rather than being stuck in the part of the brain that is just emotional. So when we're trying to sell, we need to think about how we're going to use storytelling to deliver in a way that it doesn't feel like I'm walking into the room going, did you know we have a sale going on right now? Right? I want to walk into the room and be like, hey, how's it going? Like, what are you up to? What are you about? You look interesting. Like, how do we create that connection? So there's 5 ways to storytelling success that we're going to cover this morning. And I want to start also, especially in times of pandemic. I don't want us to go out and spend, 30,000 or whatever it might be on the newest technology. Okay, let's use what we have. So let's take stock of what we have. Next, let's make it feel authentic to our brand. Story about that later. 3, it's not all about you. It's not about you at all, actually, and I'll go into that. 4, specifically storytelling, and 5, leverage. And this one is so important. Let's talk use what you have. Okay, so what do you have? Why don't you go ahead and grab that piece of paper in front of you and write down what you have. Do you have a marketing manager? So you have a human, okay? Do you have Facebook? Do you have Pinterest? Do you have Instagram? Are you using Instagram stories? Do you have Google My Business? Do you have a chat bot? Do you have a newsletter? Do you have a blog? Do you have, what else? Do you have campaigns? Do you have contests? Do you have you looked at your SEO? Do you have all of these things matter in social media? Okay. For example, your handle in Instagram works a bit like SEO, search engine optimization. So your handle in Instagram needs to not just be your business name, but maybe if you can sneak it in, like your account name, sorry, not your handle, your account name should also be a little bit about your business. So if you're a lawyer, or if you're a cafe, or if you're an outdoor adventure and tourism business, those things need to be in that part of the name and part of the description, because that shows up in search engine, right? You go to Google and you're looking for lawyer. What shows up? The Facebook account of a particular lawyer, the Pinterest account of a particular lawyer, and it does it for every single business. Because while Google, Facebook, or Google and pick any other social media don't necessarily talk to each other, they are able to start to find some of these keywords, which is why these things are showing up in search. The next is, have you tested and measured each of these things? So for me as a coach, I have a 13-step sales process because I want to segment and measure every single piece along the way. I want to know where I'm losing people. At Carmella, we have 10 different marketing tactics that we are using at any different time to drive leads. That is just leads, not sales, not trying to increase the dollars per transaction or the number of transactions or changing our profit margin, not doing any of those things, just for leads. Okay. And then what I do is I measure. So I say, okay, I've got my 10 things I'm going to do to drive leads. I have a budget for each one. Then I look and I say, okay, I've got, I've got X number of leads coming in from this particular tactic, and I've spent that much. That's my cost per lead, right? Then what was my core conversion rate for that particular tactic? And what was my cost per acquisition, my CPA, right? In order to actually get that particular client. So I know I need 20 leads, right? In order to have, call it 5 clients on the other end. So that helps me dictate how much I need to be doing. For me right now, what I'm doing is a lot of direct reach out to individuals in LinkedIn. There are lots of bots and things like that that you can use to do that, especially if you have an event that you're trying to fill. But for me, I'm trying to create authentic and genuine connections. These are people that I really actually want to connect with. So my next question is, how are we going to measure? So we've recently started working with a new client that does basically a specific type of measurement for real estate. And they don't have, they have no idea. So, we could drive 1,000 leads their way. They're not going to know where those leads came from. They're not going to know, one, can they handle, they don't have the systems in place in order to receive all of that. So we're trying to get them to put the brakes on a little bit and look at the big picture to make sure that we can measure all of these things, because when you're running any sort of digital media or marketing, you can measure every single click. You can know where people came from. But it's, again, we have to be ready and thinking in a way that we can do that. So I think we have a lot of control over how to measuring our leads and measuring our conversion rate and things like that. But I can't walk out on the street, snap my fingers, sorry, the street's right there, snap my fingers and have a new customer, right? I need to work it through my process. So I think we buy on emotion, right? Most of us, unless it's a really big purchase, and then probably, hopefully, some of the rational thinking starts to come in. So I want to come back. How do we create that emotion in social media? Okay, and I'm going to bring it back to storytelling again. Okay, so that's what we have. So I kind of gave you a bit of a checklist of things that you could run through. Each of your industries is going to be slightly different. If you're in a very visual industry, like in food, you know, what you're actively doing, it needs to be a little bit different than if you are in a, you know, a non-visual industry, for example, like marketing, right? So any questions about that? Sorry, I went off on a bit of a rant there, but any questions about that?
And if you think of any, you can always put them in the chat too. I'll make sure. Looks like Jill
I
might
have one.
one.
You were talking about the 10 things that your leads. You were saying that cost per lead, and then you said a core or something, and I didn't understand. I didn't hear the
Absolutely.
words for that.
Absolutely. So core conversion rate. So with any business, I want you to think about what can you do to remove the barrier to entry, right? So whether if you're running a lead campaign, or you have a landing page that you're driving leads to, or you simply want to get more people to walk in off the street, what are you doing to remove that barrier to entry? How are you getting those leads? How many leads are you getting? Are they the right leads? Doesn't matter if that, 100 leads that will never walk in your business. We want the right leads to walk in. Your core conversion rate, okay, your conversion rate is of the leads, how many people did you convert, right, to taking that next step. That next step could be signing up for an email or a newsletter. That could be buying a product. That could be a subscription, a sale, a membership, right? It doesn't always look the same for every single business. And then what you want to look at once you know your conversion rate, right? If this is a sale, then we want to go back again and we want to look at what it cost us to buy a client or buy a customer. So in the coaching business, we have an average client retention. And I should have clarified this, because I think I said before, sometimes I have my executive coaching hat on, and sometimes I'll take that off and I'll put my Carmella marketing coach hat on. And I'll try to be really clear when I switch hats there. But in the executive coaching business, our client retention is 63 months. So we know that buying a client, if it costs us $1,000 to buy a client, we know that that's okay, because our lifelong, basically, relationship with that client is totally worth it, right? So I think you need to know those numbers for your business. You need to know what you're willing to spend. Authentic to your brand. This is a great story. So we want to make sure that whatever we're going to do feels authentic to your brand. So I might have Cassie in a few seconds here pop in and talk about Instagram Reels, because we had a conversation in our office recently about doing a reel. But there was a client, this is probably about 2 years ago. This is a Carmella client, not a Carmella client. A Carmella client who didn't really want to make a video. And we pushed and we pushed and we pushed. And we said, this is going to do really, really well. Okay, we need you to do this. And they were so nervous that they went and they actually, this got super high, and then they shot the video. And it showed because they had to reshoot the video, 10 or so times because they had a good time doing it. And then, but again, like it really didn't feel authentic to them, even though we told them to do it. So yes, the video did very well once edited, but that we never got them to do that again. We know that video on a landing page converts 40% more, okay? We know that we have 7 seconds to capture someone's attention before they're like, oh, squirrel, or whatever they're on to next. But it's really, you need to do what feels right for you as well. So again, it's meeting you or meeting your brand where you're at, okay? Cass, do you want to talk about Reels for a second?
Sure. So I'll actually talk about the fact that Reels was born from the fact that TikTok did so well. Instagram really wanted something that was going to compete. And then when some of the governing bodies in different countries were trying to block TikTok, it worked out really well because they could bring over the users that were really doing well. So now let me explain something in terms of what we're talking about with authenticity. If it feels super awkward for you to create something like a reel or TikTok, like it's okay. Everyone above the age of like 14 feels weird creating it. And I'll say 17 maybe. Because I've even had to go and like look up videos on how to do things because they make it look, when you watch TikTok and Reels, it makes it look so easy, right? But it really is once you start trying. So the biggest thing about it is these videos, so just for some background, the Reels are either 15 or 30 seconds long. Same with TikTok, they don't get any longer than that. They last for, in TikTok and Reels, they can last forever if you want in your feed. They can be in your gallery on Instagram. And you can also post them to your stories, which disappear after 24 hours. They can be in both places. The reason they're such a high conversion for either influencers as well as brands right now is because Instagram is prioritizing them on the feed. So they want people to use them, and which means that if you create one, no matter what it looks like, and now remember, I understand that some of you have businesses and you're not just going to like throw out a random test just to test it, but just understand that you can create them and not post them too. Like you could delete them and play around with the app, just go in and see what you can do. And to Steph's point before, if you have more than 10,000 followers, you can actually create elements within it to help push towards your websites. So my example I will give, as I've only myself done, I have more than 10,000 followers from being a member of Team Canada, not necessarily thanks to them, but because I was able to figure out how to get people to come care about what I was doing. Same thing as business. So because of that, I have some features that some individuals don't have, but it means that I get to play around with things. So I've only ever created 2 Reels. I have lots of other videos. Both of those Reels are no longer than 30 seconds. They're super goofy. And that's also part of my personality. Got more views than anything I've ever posted on Instagram. And it's not because like, oh wow, she did something monumental. It was just, I picked something that was super relevant right now for a song. So you kind of latch on to other things that people are doing. That's the idea, is you think of it this way. That's why you see a lot of dancing on TikTok. A song comes out, someone creates a routine around it, and then everyone tries and makes it interesting. And as a brand kind of case study, real quick, you may have seen there was a gentleman down from Idaho who decided to just toss up a reel one day. His car broke down. He needed to go to work, so he just left it on the side of the highway, jumped on his skateboard and had a bottle of ocean spray with him. And to the song Dreams from Fleetwood Mac, he just recorded himself skateboarding down the highway, drinking his ocean spray. That video went so crazy on Reels that ultimately in less than a month's time, Ocean Spray had a huge, huge boost of sales. And so did that song, because people were like, who's Fleetwood Mac, right? All this generation of people that had no idea who that was. And he got a new truck and a huge sponsorship from Ocean Spray. Now that's obviously one of those like here to there, but that's the kind of power that these really short videos have. So I can't teach you all how to do it today, but we do have lots of people here that can help you out. So that's something to think about if you ever wanted to come in and learn.
Awesome. Thanks, Cass. That's great. again, just find out what works for you, be consistent, and we find out what works for us by testing and measuring, right? Be consistent in all aspects of your brand story, your brand promise, your brand message, your style guide, your points of culture, your mission, and your USP, which is your unique selling proposition, because all of that will show as well. So we want to first establish a connection, right? So just like we're doing here, I wanna establish a connection with your audience or with your ideal client, and business is gonna come second. Oh, we just might have to mute whoever. Thanks, thank you. The one thing we don't want to do is, you know, we don't meet Marnie on the street and Marnie says, "Did you know that we're having a beet burger today? You should come and have my beet burger." Or, you know, we have velvet red velvet cupcakes with cream cheese icing today. Like, it's Friday, it's Cupcake Friday. Like, Marnie meets you at the street and she's like, "Hey, how's it going?" And then Jet like creates a conversation with you as a human, right? So we don't walk in and we start selling. We don't do that in social media either. So if we haven't taken the time to build a connection with our audience, we can't expect to be able to start selling on that platform either. Has everybody seen this, The Art of Waiting? I'm gonna go ahead and play it. Because of Zoom and because of Wi-Fi, it's music in the background. It might just be a little bit glitchy, but you'll get the idea here. Oh, maybe not. Let's see if we can get this to work.
So we don't have any music at all, Steph, but it's okay. You guys still get the point.
There's no music.
No.
Okay.
It's okay. It's still a great video.
Yeah. Well, I shouldn't take my headphones off. Okay, well, we're gonna skip over that video. I took my headphones out. That might be the issue. I'll do that for the next video because there was no sound in that one, but you kind of get the idea. That video came out during the pandemic. Do you guys want to tell me a little bit about that? So I'm gonna go back. Tell me about this video and why Fairmont Banff Springs would put this out. I'm gonna pick on you guys. Let's see if we can see everybody who's here. Make this a little bit bigger. For Jill, do you want to tell us why Fairmont would put out a video like that?
I think they're just showing that, you know, they're ready and waiting and willing to take people back. Like, it was a fun take on the pause of COVID. And I think it would make people kind of giggle. Like, the guy was humorous and just, you know, waiting to welcome them back. Like, it's all about how are we going to make the best of them coming forward when they come to the desk to check in again finally.
Absolutely. What else? Sylvia?
you kind of got me on this one, to be honest, like other than what Jill said, that just because they are there, you know, they can understand, maybe that's where we're all sitting, you know, just waiting and, you know, what do I do next? And just showing he's finding little tasks to do and just relating that that's where we're all at, I guess.
Absolutely. Was it on brand?
Oh, I think so. Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's the, at least, not that I stay at this, the Fairmonts very often. I would think so.
Rosina, Marnie, do you guys have anything to add to that?
Oh, I just
You're
had
on
to
mute.
comment that I just thought it was kind of humanizing, and yeah, just to let people know they're there, but it's cute. Yeah. They're
Anyone
connected.
else want to add anything? Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Anyone else want to add anything?
Where did they post this?
They actually did a whole series, and they're all on YouTube. What they did is they went and they used key staff that had maybe some unique talents. So there's like, do you guys remember like the Stomp, the guys that did Stomp? So there's two cleaners that are outside. They're like sweeping, and then they figure out how to make like the beat as well. And so they do this whole thing where they're like sweeping the front of the hotel. Then you have two hosts, and I'm probably using the wrong word, housekeeper, people that clean the room. There's probably a better term for those individuals now. But someone who's cleaning the room, and she's basically walks out onto kind of the patio and is doing this amazing, she has an amazing voice. So you hear her singing opera on the patio of the, and I think this one is actually shot in like Belize. And it's all about the art of waiting. The other thing to know about this is the entire film industry went on hold. So what we do with Make In Tonight and how we shoot video using Zoom or using your phone and other tools right now, like the major production companies, that was all they had, right? So you saw cooking shows being shot over Zoom. You see, you know, this video is one individual, right? And probably one cameraman trying to reduce the potential of spread. And I mean, I know we have a lot more cases now, but it definitely, it was pretty amazing to see that they could, you know, come up with something creative that still kept them present and front of mind and generated some brand awareness. It's not about you. What do I mean by that?
I think mostly, I mean, what I've understood in the past is, I mean, we're trying to, what can we do for our guest or our customer? So it's not about who we are and what we're going to do. It's what can we do for them?
Absolutely. That's exactly it. The content we create, the things that we put out, it's not about me. It's about my ideal client. So are you creating content that resonates with your ideal client? So I'm gonna pick on the cafe for a second, the Bike Cafe, and say, you know, when you're creating the content that you're pushing out, is that relevant to a 20 or 30-year-old individual or people that are, you know, working in the business? Or is that content relevant to your best or your ideal client? You know, the one who's going to walk in the door and spend 10 grand on a Santa Cruz and then come back for the rest of their life, give you all your money for the rest of their life. I mean, that is what we want in business. Continually come back. We want them to be a good referral partner. So we want them to tell all of our friends about, or tell all of their friends about you. So it's really important to make sure that what you're putting out isn't what you necessarily like as the business owner, but it's about what your ideal client wants to see. When we're storytelling, has anyone heard of the 4 Ps before? Do I see some nods or shakes? People, place, the plot, and the purpose. People, place, plot, and purpose. So tell me more about what I mean about this. I'm gonna pick on Jen. If Jen is able to come up.
Yeah, I am. You might have a little bit of babble in the background, but
No problem.
it's kind of like the update to the 5 Ws, where you have who, what, when, where, why, and sometimes how. So the people, the place, the plot, and the purpose of what you're posting. Sorry.
No, it's great. It's great. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, storytelling, right? We need to have a plot. We need to have a purpose. We need to know who's going to be in that video, and are those people, does my ideal client identify with those people? And the place, right? So again, is the place relevant? Does it matter? So storytelling, it looks different wherever it is. An Instagram reel is going to look different than a story. It's going to look different than storytelling on LinkedIn. It's going to look different for different brands. But again, what type of content can we use to tell those stories? How can we create that authentic connection, that meaningful story that's going to resonate with people? Okay. We want to make sure we focus on our products. So if we have business units that we are trying to promote. So for example, if Carmella was trying to promote that we were going to get into dog walking, then we would want to make sure that we had stories about our team walking dogs. Or, maybe we had stories about the dogs. Maybe we have an entire Instagram about dogs and dog walking. And again, we're trying to make sure that we're laddering it back to what's actually going on in the business. Okay. It's not necessarily another tactic to sell products or services. So the Art of Waiting video that I just showed you, were they trying to sell anything in that video? You didn't get to see the end of it, but it was very much exactly the same. No, they weren't. Another client that we have worked with in the past, they did, it was a ski resort, and they did an entire YouTube show, okay, focused on the locals who ski there. And they had challenges. The locals had challenges that they had to complete. It was a contest to see who could complete all of the challenges and who could complete them either the best or the fastest or whatever. The challenges were shot. We gave each of the locals a GoPro, and then basically after they completed their challenge, they had to upload their video content. Sylvia, this might be an idea for you. We had 4 GoPros that we basically gave to these locals. They had to complete the challenge. It was 1 per week. Then they had to upload that content. We would then edit that content, and then we would have like almost like a release, like when a show, Netflix releases that there's a new episode of whatever available. We had that, so we did that in the bar of the ski resort. And the locals that were featured in the videos were there, so you could come and drink with the celebrities, which people did anyway, right? If you're a local of a ski resort and everybody knows you, then you probably have some friends and are a regular already. But it was a great way to fill a restaurant, with more than 100 people on a night when it generally would be slow. So we were able to drive some revenue for the resort, but our goal was storytelling, brand awareness, and creating this 5-part series, which it was really, really fun to do. And we did it on a shoestring as well. So the editing that we did was literally just tying all of the team's videos together. Again, we used GoPros rather than having a film crew on site. It was pretty amazing to see what we could do for, a couple of $1,000. So litmus test. If you want to go ahead and take a screenshot of this one, this is something you should adopt in your business. Okay. So whenever the team generates any sort of content here, I challenge them to see if this content is award-winning. Okay. And the way we evaluate award-winning is by using this litmus test. So is that content relevant to our target audience? Is it timely in terms of the decision-making process or the path to purchase? So when we are thinking about buying something, so somewhere along the way, we're going to have what's called a moment of inspiration. Okay. And that moment of inspiration sends us on a journey. And that journey normally is a trip over to Google where we start Googling. And at first, we're not very intelligent. We don't necessarily know the right keywords. So having a really sophisticated SEO play doesn't necessarily work here. We need to play to the lowest common denominators, which I would say sometimes we don't know what we're searching for. So we start doing some searches, we get smarter as we go, and we find, oh, look, Yamnuska has a blog about that. Or, oh, look, this particular client has 10 blogs about that. That's very interesting, and they've just solved all my problems. Now, I probably got distracted at some point, and now I'm shopping. I've bought new shoes and they're going to show up on Thursday, and I've lost my train of what I was doing. So some other moment in time, we're going to have a moment of inspiration. Oh yeah, I remember I was thinking about that. Back over to Google for another search. And this process just goes on and on and on until we're ready to the moment of commitment, which is the MOC. And when we get to the moment of commitment, we need to address somebody's crucial concerns. Okay. So again, if we look at that decision-making process, the type of content we're putting out when somebody's in awareness versus when somebody's in consideration is very, very different. So back over to timely. Okay. So again, all of that plays into when do I post this? Okay. That I'm going to push out. Memorable. It needs to be more than just a picture with an emoji. It needs to ladder up to a higher strategic purpose. Okay. So make sure that you're using those storytelling posts in Instagram. Write that long story. Cassie is queen of doing this, where I'd be like, oh, I think I can eke out a sentence here. And Cassie's like, and here's a novel. So again, those are the posts that are doing the best, the long form posts. And then is it valuable? So is it worth putting out at all? Okay. So just making sure that we're always asking ourselves why. See if we can get these guys to play. Yep, that should be, oh, did I screw it up again? Let's try this one. Just little videos.
The top one's playing. There we go. The bottom one's playing.
The bottom one was playing. Okay, perfect. So tell me, let's have a little discussion here about how you can make a story relevant, timely, and memorable to your audience. So go ahead and let's have a little chat about that. Let's see. Can't. Kendra, do you want to tell us a little bit about maybe how you might use storytelling in your business?
It's funny because this is probably the part where I get stuck the most, because our main goal is, like, we're retail, so we want to sell. And sometimes it's hard for me to connect to the story of it or make it relevant. We've had some posts that we've done in the past where they were personal and heartfelt, and of course they just blew up, right? But like, how do you make a story out of like Christmas hot chocolate or something? Do you know what I mean? Like, how do I don't know how to connect the story
Can I jump in?
to the product.
Kendra, I would encourage you to ask yourself, like, if you've done any work around like who you're talking to, in the way that it can be really difficult for brands sometimes to, especially if you don't have like, a mascot or someone that you're being, or there's like a face of your business. The challenge for us too, when we're creating for our clients, is who are we speaking to? Like, and because those heartfelt stories obviously are going to someone, right? Those stories are connecting with someone. How do we tell stories in social media, even when they're not super heartfelt, to that same group so that they're still engaged? And so I can't answer that question for you specifically myself, but my question to you is like, have you done that work to try and figure out who those people are, like your personas as we refer to them?
Yes. And like, I know what our main audience is, and our main audience is local women between the ages of 30 and 45. That's our biggest audience. And a lot of them are moms. And so I've been trying to figure out a way that I can tell a story that's almost relevant to myself, because I'm in my mid-30s and I am also a mom. But also finding a way to tell the story that isn't, I don't know, I guess I kind of feel hokey sometimes. Like I don't know.
I can see the storyline in my mind already though, and I bet some of you can as well. It's you and it's video, and it's you, and do you have sons or daughters?
I have
And
one
that-
daughter.
One daughter. Okay, so it's you and your daughter getting dressed, and you're pulling on your winter boots, and you're putting on your toque, her put on her mittens, and then you walk out the door, and it's the sound of your boots walking on the snow, and it's a close-up of your boots walking on the snow, and then it's you arriving at, and it's kind of shot in that sort of slow motion type of slow motion, fast motion kind of, I don't know how else to describe that, but I think you know what I mean. And then you're at the kitchen store, and you're pulling the door open, and she's going in, and she's giggling, and she's excited because she knows what's coming, and she already knows exactly where on the shelf the Christmas hot chocolate is. And she walks over and she gets it, and she puts it on the counter, and there's like an exchange of money, or she's paying by tap, like whatever it might be, right? And then there's you guys kind of, the next scene, there might be you leaving the store and moving home, or there might not, it might skip over that section, but then you're at home and you've got kind of, you know, your PJs on or whatever it might be, and you're making that hot chocolate, and there's the close-up of her stirring that. And then the two of you having a moment together, just the two of you, where, you know, there's a human connection there made over Christmas hot chocolate. And you then might have logo, you know, kitchen store, like fading into the logo, might fade into whatever it is. But again, like it's just telling the story, right? Like, let's make hot chocolate, right? Okay. So
like, that's amazing. I would have not thought of that myself.
well, there you go. Job done. I have one good idea a day, and that was it. So we can all go home now.
Okay, well, now we need her to do another one. Just to that point, and I'll simplify this for everyone, because not everyone's going to have the same business, obviously. The simplest things that are represented in your business, the things that seem monotonous to you, that don't seem impressive, like for the bicycle cafe, like you might not think about, like, they're around bikes all day and they're around coffee and they're like, oh yeah, whatever. But there's like a million stories that people they just care about. There's a reason we like reality TV. There's a reason all these little 30-second reels work, is because people want to see in the lives of other people. So just create those moments over and over again. So it doesn't have to be a long drawn out video. It can just be a short little post. So just keep it simple, pay attention to what you do throughout your day and or what your business does, and share that with your audience.
Awesome. Yeah, exactly. Great advice, Cassie. This slide is a lot of letters. So what does this actually mean? Your content, it's not B2B, it's not business to business, it's not B2C, it's not business to consumer, or D2C, direct to consumer, which is a lot of what the pandemic brought out with a lot of people. Your content needs to be human to human, H to H. So, okay, that's an important lesson to take away. We're wired for connection, and each of us has an opportunity to lead and influence in a way that's going to create cohesion and cooperation okay, towards a similar goal. This is an example of storytelling. So outfit of the day drawings. See, I didn't know that. I had to learn that. And this came about, you know, with the pandemic. As so she's doing outfit of the day drawings or a routine of my social media, and it's healthy at home. And she talks a little bit about healthcare. Go ahead and grab a screenshot of this one. I won't spend a whole lot of time here, but I will go through all of this for you guys. So everyone's always asking me, like, what are the tools that you use to save the most amount of time to do social media on your phone, or social media while you have kids hanging off you, or whatever that might be. Okay, so photos. My favorite place to go for stock photos is a site called Unsplash. The photos are free, and the reason I like it is they're not very stock-like. So it's a great place to go and look for stock photos. And the next one is personal photo editing. So sometimes I have a great photo and I'm like, wow, those crow's feet are getting really bad. Maybe I just want to tone those down a little bit. And so I'll hop over to Snapseed and I'll just pick basically put it on portrait mode, and that will just smooth things out a little bit. So sometimes I will go ahead and do that. You can also edit all sorts of things in Snapseed. It's one of the easiest, most user-friendly tools that you can do for personal photo editing. You can use it in your business, obviously, too. Design. If you don't have a designer or aren't familiar with Adobe, Canva is a great tool. When you get a Canva account, if you are a team of people, I would recommend getting the business version, the pro version, because what you can do is you can upload all of your assets and all of your templates, all of your logos, all of the features that are part of your brand. You can put all of those in Canva so that you can basically have a poster template. So every single time you need to create a poster about a particular event, you can just go in, grab that template, swap out the header, swap out the content, and it's done. Okay, you don't need to reinvent your poster every single time. Instagram stories, one of the biggest sort of time savers for me is an app called Mojo. And you know how you see those really pretty stories that some people have where there's like 3 or 4 photos and one of them's a video and it might be a promo. Sylvia, this would be great for you, you know, because you have the ability to do swipe up. Anybody else have more than 10,000 followers on Instagram? I think just Sylvia, if I know for sure. So, you know, you want to have stories that look professional. Okay. So using Mojo, swipe up, you're driving to sales, you want to see signups, or you know, you guys did an amazing job of pivoting and using your guides and using video and telling stories with those guides. So that would be a great way to drive registrations for you. Scheduling, I'm a Later fan. The whole company uses Later. Later is an Instagram partner. They always get the API update first. So if you're using something like Hootsuite, I'm gonna steer you away from it a little bit. I think Later is a better product. I also there's people who work for Later in Calgary. There's people who work for Later in Vancouver. If
and
you
it's
need
free.
to reach, and no, it's not free.
It is for one account. It is.
True.
That's all
Yes.
I mean. So if you only have one account that you're worried about, that's just for some people, that's enough. Otherwise, it's not free, but just know that.
True. You can schedule Pinterest. You can schedule pins. You can schedule stories. You can schedule posts. You can schedule all sorts of things. But it's a great tool. It's worth learning. Video editing. So you can use an app called Splice, or you can set up a TikTok account and you can go on over to TikTok. You can create your video, you can edit it, you can put music to it, you can put graphics in it, you can do whatever you want. They have an amazing video editing platform, and then you can export it and use it in Instagram, or export it and use it wherever it is that you want to use it. Do you want to add anything to that, Cassie?
Sure. Put it in the chat just so because I don't have the icons up, but I use also as well as these. And now this is It's trial and error. Okay, so sometimes you download an app and you try it and you hate it. All good, get rid of it. If you don't like it, don't use it. Like, don't just keep it in your phone, and I'm bad for that. But I do use Photoshop Express, which is part of Adobe. So that's also a really good photo editing, and it's they've condensed it really well for people to just make it more user friendly. So you don't have to be scared of the word Photoshop. You're like, oh, I don't know how to use it. InShot is another really good editor. Polish is another good editor. Story Art is kind of like Mojo, so you can create different stories for Instagram stories. And Photo Director is a really good editing app for videos as well too. And I only have the free versions on my phone. I also have an Android, so sometimes you'll find different situations depending on what you're using, but just know that a lot of times the free versions will have enough for you to get started. If you love it, then pay the $3 because you'll get a lot more out of them. So.
What was the last one that you had after Story Art?
Photo Director.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Was it was Photoshop Express? Is that the Adobe? What?
Yes. Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Thanks.
So the last sort of key to storytelling is leverage, okay? And we're going to talk a little bit about leverage, but there's some things that we can do that may not be obvious to us. One of them is called newsjacking. So realtors are really good at doing this. There'll be an event in town or there'll be something going on. They'll write a blog about it. They'll start showing up in search as people are curious about what's going on. We want to focus on emotions here in leverage and pull people in. We want to position ourselves as a thought leader in our industry as well. But there's a couple different ways to do leverage, right? So leverage, when we think about leverage, like if I asked you about this right now, you'd be like, oh, it's like when you borrow money to buy more of something or to expand. Like money, other people's money is the most obvious part of leverage, right? But what about time? How do we leverage time? Through systems. Right? Our employees, Beth's nodding. Yep. When all of us would probably say that time is our most valuable assets, how can we leverage our employees? How can we hire outside sources, but other people's time? So that's a way to leverage. What about other people's work, for example? So, are we franchising our business? That's another point of, okay. Other people's experiences. How can we leverage other people's experiences? So on that one, we kind of joke that every business book we read, we should add $10 an hour to our billable rate, right? I'm just joking about that, but read books, read blogs. There's a great app called Blinkist. And what it does is it takes those books like Good to Great by Jim Collins, and it will condense that book into a 15-minute blink. And you still get all of the key points out of that. It's been extremely useful. As well, an Audible account, right? We can't always sit down and read because we're busy doing laundry or whatever it might be. And I choose laundry because I love to do laundry, not because everyone else should be doing laundry. I get a lot of calm out of folding clothes. So I like to listen to things while I'm doing that, for example. Other people's ideas. So how do we leverage other people's ideas? Scalable, so scale, okay? For example, maybe if we're talking about distribution, like Amazon, is there a way we can leverage production and distribution chains? So I was talking with a team actually of 2 women who are creating a chocolate fuel business. And what I mean by that is they are creating endurance sports snacks that are chocolate only, and they're doing all their own distribution. And it's like, well, those distribution channels already exist. Why don't we leverage one that is already there and save you time, team, and money? Scalable customer base. So again, is there a way that we can access someone else's customer base and leverage that? that is tagging. So if you are creating posts or content in social media, think about who might benefit from seeing that or who might benefit from being tagged in that. For example, if the BRZ is doing a specific item, like when Main Street was pedestrians only this summer, you know, tagging media, tagging Travel Alberta, tagging Tourism Canmore Kananaskis, tagging relevant bloggers, tagging relevant influencers, things like that, or sending those posts through Instagram or through Facebook to those individuals. That is a huge way of leverage. And you can save entire, like you could create a list of them and then just save them in your phone. And if you're writing a post, you could save it as a key, right? So I can show you how to do that later if anybody wants. But yeah, that's very useful. So leverage is actually something I'm doing a presentation on next Wednesday. The entire presentation is about leverage. So it's taking stock of what you have and then how to leverage that. Well, I said leverage the hell out of it, because I think that's the most important thing during the pandemic is what do we have and how can we make it go further? So viral campaigns. Emotions make marketing campaigns go viral. I'm going to take my headphones out. Oh, I'm going to drop them on the floor. I'm going to see if we can get this to play so that you can hear it.
Be a lady, they said. Your skirt is too short. Your shirt is too low. Don't show so much skin. Cover up. Leave something to the imagination. Don't be a temptress. Men can't control themselves. Men have needs. Look sexy. Look hot. Don't be so provocative. You're asking for it. Wear black. Wear heels. You're too dressed up. You're too dressed down. You look like you've let yourself go. Be a lady, they said. Don't be too fat. Don't be too thin. Eat up. Slim down. Stop eating so much. Order a salad. Don't eat carbs. Skip dessert. Go on a diet. God, you look like a skeleton. Why don't you just eat? You look emaciated. You look sick. Men like women with some meat on their bones. Be a size 0. Be a double 0. Be nothing. Be less than nothing. Be a lady, they said. Remove your body hair. Bleach this, bleach that. Eradicate your scars. Cover your stretch marks. Plump your lips. Botox your wrinkles. Lift your face. Tuck your tummy. Perk up your boobs. Look natural. You're trying too hard. You look overdone. Men don't like girls who try too hard. Be a lady, they said. Wear makeup. Highlight your cheekbones. Line your lids. Fill in your brows. Lengthen your lashes. Color your lips. Powder, blush, bronze, highlight. Your hair is too short. Dye your hair, not blue. That looks unnatural. Look young. Old is ugly. Men don't like ugly. Be a lady, they said. Save yourself. Be pure. Don't be a whore. Don't sleep around. Men don't like sluts. Don't be a prude. Don't be so uptight. And smile more. Pleasure men. Be experienced. Be sexual. Be innocent. Be dirty. Be the cool girl. Don't be like the other girls. Be a lady, they said. Don't talk too loud. Don't talk too much. Don't be intimidating. Why are you so miserable? Don't be a bitch. Don't be so bossy. Don't be so emotional. Don't cry. Don't yell. Don't swear. Endure the pain. Don't complain. Fold his clothes. Cook his dinner. Keep him happy. That's a woman's job. You'll make a good wife someday. Take his last name. You hyphenated your name. Crazy feminist. Give him children. You don't want children? You will someday. He'll change your mind. Be a lady, they said. Don't get raped. Don't drink too much. Don't walk alone. Don't go out too late. Don't dress like that. Don't get drunk. Don't smile at strangers. Don't go out at night. Don't trust anyone. Don't say yes. Don't say no. Just be a lady, they said.
What is the point? What is the point of that? It shocked me. Every single time it shocks me, right? And I'm like, Oh my God, what a confusing set of messages to try to follow the rules to.
Stuart S commented by accident on private. He says freedom in the chat.
Yep. I don't really, it's a video that's out there. It did go viral. It's on emotion, right? That's the idea here, is how to create that emotion. So again, very shocking. There's a lot to unpack in that video for sure. So I want to ask each of you, what is, I want you to go ahead and write it down. What is one thing that you will commit to in the next 30 days? How will you use storytelling in your business? One of the 5 points of storytelling in your business in the next 30 days. Go ahead and write that down. Okay. Does anybody want to share what they're committing to here?
Stephanie, I'm working on a product definition right now, and I think a lot of that comes from knowing who the audience will be and looking at it from their perspective. Like, again, it's not about me, it's about them. So these points are all quite good to use it to wear that hat instead of a different hat to look at the information that I'm trying to collect and make sense of.
Awesome. So what is the goal? What's the one thing you're going to do in the next 30 days?
Just have it in like in 1 or 2 sentences, I think, because right now it's still too big and I don't have it well defined. It's just having a better definition.
That's great. That's really awesome. Yeah, good job. Anyone else want to share? Rosina, do you feel like you want to share what you might do in the next 30 days?
Well, I'll discuss with Ildiko, but I think we'll try and come up with something really compelling for a story.
Amazing. Like an origin story, you mean?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Perhaps about her and Ken and how they developed Revoderm. We've done posts like that before, but I'm thinking maybe a little video of them. Since
Maybe.
Cassie said that people want to see the lives of other people, right?
Yep. Is there anybody else who wants to share? By saying it out loud, you're going to do it, okay? And if you don't say it out loud, what are the odds that it's going to happen? I think we covered that yesterday. Do we remember?
Yeah.
8%, right? So I'm not gonna force you guys, but Beth, Jen, Kendra, Marnie, Stuart, Stefan, Sylvia.
I'm very fortunate. I actually have this team who make me stick to my goals. What we have found, or what I have found with working with the team that I work with, is that a combination, it's been really interesting to watch. So people say, why do we show pictures of the mountains? The people that are coming to our social media currently are mostly, the 3,000 to 5,000 of them, depending on what we're promoting at the time, are from out of town. So they want to see some of the views. And what we've been finding is by directing them back, okay, you can take this walk, this is the view, and then stop and have a coffee or go to community for lunch or shop in our downtown, depending on how we want to, feature those different things, has made a real difference in the organic growth, because I basically hardly ever pay for paid advertising on any of my channels. So I guess the goal for me is to continue with the stories. I love the kitchen boutique one. I think there's something really, I have an idea in my head of what I want to do now with regard to kitchen boutique. And so we'll follow up with Kendra, is it? Regarding that for Cam, or for something for some of our live posts in December. So that's kind of where I'm at the moment.
Awesome. And on that one, Kendra, if you want to reach out to me after, we have a live, basically cooking show, and we have about 5 or 6 shows planned starting around Christmas time. So I can think of lots of product placement stuff that we could probably do as well. So you can reach out to me after if you want on that one. Who else would like to share?
I think my goal is going to be just sort of building on your suggestion for connecting to people using my kid and just brainstorming ways that I can relate to other moms, just using like my own sort of problems or things that I find I need solved on a daily basis, using things in my kitchen or things like that, more taking it to the level of, like you said, human to human.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. And any top takeaways today? Like, what was the biggest sort of BFO, your blinding flash of the obvious? Anybody have any BFOs today?
Mine would have been just looking at my own situation and my own life and applying that to how to make it personable to other people.
Love it. It's awesome. Great job. Anyone else?
I like the one about the social media posts aren't just about trying to sell you a product. I think that's what I'm always afraid of. So I'll keep that in mind.
Awesome. Any other BFOs? Okay. We've had some, and if we have any questions, now is a great time for questions. You can type them in the chat and Cassie will moderate them, or you can go ahead and just yell them out. We can do that too.
While you're thinking of more questions, I'm going to put a link in the chat. We are currently offering a holiday care package that the girls and I put together. So that's the link there. There's also a scratch ticket for a 40% savings up to. So you're going to get a lot with this package. I just want to put it in there if there's anyone who's interested in that with your business, your individual, whomever. So it includes a social media guide, as well as a monthly planner that we've created. Everything's all put together, very comprehensive, and 3 one-on-one coaching sessions with us here at Carmella. So, and that can always be arranged, whether it's in person, depending on the situation, or over Zoom. So check out that link if you can see it. And yeah, we would love to help you if that's something that is landing for you.
Awesome. Huge amount of gratitude to all of you for spending an hour and a half together this morning, bright and early. Yeah, it's nice to see everyone. I wish we were, as I said, having that warm muffin and that hot cup of coffee that someone else made for us. So yeah, thank you again, Beth. Thank you so much for having us on today. Cassie, great job, and great job to all of you. That's some real dedication and determination in supporting your businesses to do a Zoom presentation that's 90 minutes. So good job, everybody. Thank you.
Steph.
Thanks, Steph.
And we'll check in with you again. Thank you.
Yeah.